What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 513 of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast, Hot Tags of the Week, where we'll be breaking down some of the current events and rumors and news and gossip and scuttlebutt and hearsay and results breakdown and everything else that happened in the world of pro wrestling over the past few days that we feel like talking about. I am your host, as always, Tony Mango. Joining me, as always, is Robert DeFelice.
We don't know how long we'll be together. I think I've been drafted exclusively to Fanboys Anonymous, but we'll see.
Well, you know, since I am the host of this, that means that I probably should be drafted to a completely different website, right? Because that's how the draft works.
Bleacher Report drafts with exclusivity.
Sometimes that's how this works. I shouldn't say sometimes. Every time this is how this works, where there's some kind of thing, which we'll break that down, give our first impressions of night one of the WWE Draft. We're going to talk about an engagement. We're going to talk about some people getting some new hosting gigs, and we're going to talk about somebody signed to another company, a new championship, etc., etc. So, as we always do here, we want to know what you have to say about these topics and anything else that we might have missed out on. So drop a comment below. Tell us your thoughts on everything that you've got on your mind, even if it's something not related to that. If you're just kind of like, you know what grinds my gears? I hate when I go to the gas station and the prices are up. Okay, tell us about it. You know, why not, right? You know.
You know what grinds my gears? When we separate friends for no damn reason.
So drop those comments in the comment section below on YouTube, and while you're over there, hit the like button. That'll help us out quite a bit. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done that. You're not a part of, following what is going on with this channel. Ring that little notification bell to get your email alerts of when we go live and when things get posted. Make sure that if you want to help us out on the monetary side of things, you take advantage of the different varieties of ways that you could do that, which there's the little thanks button, there's the join button, which gives you the access to the members only content, Patreon, patreon.com/smarkoutmoment, same exact thing. You got the Darkcast, you got the Pick Your Poison tier. You could hit up the TeePublic and Redbubble shops, pick up some merchandise. You know, there's lots of different ways that you can help us out, including just continuing to listen to this episode. So stay tuned for everything else we're going to say. That's kind of the whole point. You clicked on it. Keep listening. But let's start with some of the non-draft stuff. Let's get into the draft stuff probably at midway through or maybe towards the end.
Yeah.
Kiera Hogan has signed with AEW, which was not announced in like one of those big grandiose Hogan is here, all elite kind of thing. It was just Excalibur.
No, they told us that Hulk Hogan was banned.
Yeah.
Got you had a problem.
Excalibur just went, and she just recently signed with AEW. So I was like, okay, well, that happened, which makes a lot of sense. She had left Impact a couple weeks ago or so. Maybe at this point, it might be like 2 months ago or so. But once that happened, and the fact that she had done some guest spots on AEW, it seemed like it was the most natural fit, right?
Yeah. And, she's a really good wrestler, so kudos to her. AEW is going to help her grow, and I'm all for it.
Didn't seem like she was most likely going to be heading to WWE based off of some of the stuff with she and Sasha Banks.
Some prior things, yeah. She had just said on social media. Even still, though, I'm sure they didn't give a shit, Yeah,
if push came to shove. But
I'm sure they could have worked past it.
With AEW being the hot brand and the spot where people have more creative freedom and all the other positives that goes along with that, this felt like it was a guarantee. So I like it. Bring more people into the women's division. They could use that. And it's a bigger spotlight for her. So thumbs up all around. It's like 8 thumbs, I guess. I don't know. Counting the thumbs here. Speaking of Impact, though, let's talk about that they have a new championship. The Impact Wrestling Digital Media Championship, which is essentially, it's a TV title, but hey, we're ahead of the curve 10 years ago, and we're going to make this the digital...
Hold on. That's not fair. That's not
It's fair. This is dumb.
No, it's not. Nobody else is doing this.
Because it's dumb. TV titles make no sense. I hated them from the very beginning. And this is TV title, but without TV. It's literally the same thing.
Have you seen the belt design?
Yeah, it's all right.
What is it? It looks like the AEW title, doesn't it?
It does kind of.
Alright, look, here's the positives. Both men and women can compete for it. So hopefully this is your designated intergender championship, and we can stop seeing, hey, will Tessa Blanchard win the Impact World title? Will Jordan Grace win the X Division title? Tessa Blanchard's not there, but she did win their belt. So I'm into it. It's fine. I wish Impact and Ring of Honor would merge. Alright, look, let me explain this, because I don't say that in the means of I want people to lose out on work.
Right, yeah, obviously not.
But I do feel if they merged, we would have a really solid number 3 television promotion. And I think that'd be super cool. But, it's fine. First champion kind of bound for glory in a 6-way match. Probably 3 men, 3 women. That's not confirmed. That's just me guessing. And we'll see what happens.
I'm not big on the intergender wrestling stuff. I feel like it's kind of heading more in the direction of like the carny side of pro wrestling, where it's like that's the gimmick to try to sell you. And if they need to do that,
Because you're a fanboy of like Marvel and stuff.
Right.
And the one go-to they always give is, well, Wonder Woman can fight Batman and nobody says a damn thing about it. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not a big fan when that happens either.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen? There we have objectivity. All right, I can't say anything about that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, when you play that game, you're in so many ways. It's not necessarily always the case, but it's very close to always the case. You're kind of proving that you don't have anything worth selling outside of some kind of a hook. Kind of the same as like, when you see a TV show and the TV show says something every commercial for the next episode as the shocking new episode of whatever, where somebody's going to die. Like Walking Dead. I've seen 2 episodes of the show. Hated it. And I understand that it's got a lot of fans for whatever it is.
Now you're talking about 10 years ago.
Yeah. But, yeah. But even those fans that had been diehard fans, almost every single one of them that I know stopped watching the show because they're like, yeah, it really just turned into who's going to die, and that's all we care about. And if it doesn't have substance to it, then you're going to fall by the wayside a little bit, here and there. And with the intergender wrestling stuff, to me, it feels like, well, we don't have the biggest stars. We don't have the most entertaining roster. We don't have the biggest pull to get attention. So here's our, the kid that acts up in class and he does something bad so that you could just pay attention to him because he's missing the attention at home. Like, this will get people talking and then we won't be forgotten about. And after a couple times of doing it, it already loses that luster. So Tessa wins the title. Everybody goes crazy about it. I don't think if anybody were to win, like, if a woman wins the championship first and a man wins the championship next and whatever, I don't think anybody's going to really report on it. Do you?
A woman? No, I don't. It's just going to be where the championship is moving forward.
So if that's one of the things that's supposed to be a drawing point, they lost me on that. If it's the TV title, it's defended on the digital space kind of thing, I've hated that since, the first TV championship that I'm aware of, like, as a fan, is the WCW one. And back in the day, I was always like, well, yeah, of course it's a TV championship. They've got TV and pay-per-view. It's always on my TV. What do you mean it's not on the, like, what? Like, okay, so it's not on the live shows? The live shows that I don't watch? I don't give a shit about them. And then they defended on those championships on there sometimes, too.
Let's just talking about television titles in general. They were created as special attraction belts for TV when TV was just, hey, it's Lex Luger running through Barry Horowitz. But you'll also see Tully Blanchard face Dusty Rhodes for the TV championship. Get it? Like that, it's a product of that era.
Which means it's outlived its usefulness.
Well, yeah, that's why WWE never had a TV championship.
Right. So then why do it now with Impact? You know, it's the digital media, and that's a terrible name too. The digital media championship. It sounds like, you know, when you can order those belts, those custom belts from, like, I don't know, Belt Van Dam maybe does them, but like you can get those belts where it's like, oh, I'm fantasy football champion of my my office or something. Like, that's the digital media champion from the group of people that work at, like, I don't know, they do digital archiving stuff over it.
Well, hold on a minute. As somebody who's about to win Fantasy League, I think I should get a bet.
To be honest, I've looked into those, and I've thought about doing those things, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty steep.
It's pricey, though. It's fucking pricey.
Because suddenly you start adding, like, yeah, well, I'd want some kind of a personal design, and it's like, that's $500 extra. Whoa, okay, but that'd be maybe 100. Yeah.
I'm gonna get my own belt one day. It'll happen.
Push comes to shove. Is that the second time I said that? It might have been. Maybe that's my phrase of the day. I'll probably end up getting a belt done just to, I don't know, to say, like, hey, look at this. I've got a championship. I'm going to hang it over my office or something. But it's not going to say Digital Media Championship on it, no matter what I'm doing. Nor is it going to say Impact Wrestling, because why would that?
You'll buy them one day.
Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like
You're
it.
not a fan? You're not a fan? I understand.
Not a belt fan of
Toni.
this. I mean, the design's okay. That's one thing. If I'm going to give it a positive, I'll give it that.
Oh, I'm proud of you for thinking positive.
Yeah, but I apparently never say anything positive, remember?
You jerk.
Yeah, I hate absolutely everything that's ever existed in the history of the world.
But yeah, let's see what happens. We don't usually cover Impact anyway, so it doesn't carry too much weight for us. Well, for us on this podcast, at least.
When is Bound for Glory?
October 23rd?
Yep, probably not watching that.
It's
busy ass week.
2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks from Sunday, so maybe yeah. So 2 weeks from tomorrow, 3 weeks from tomorrow. So yeah, 23rd.
I don't know. Maybe there's a chance I end up watching that. Maybe we do a Darkcast or something and report on who the first digital champion is. But maybe it'll be Zack Ryder merges it with that and the Internet Championship that he
really should.
Yeah. So that's a belt. Let's switch over to some hosting stuff.
All right.
We've got Mojo Rawley or Dean Mutati, who endorsed the idea of Gladiator Hype. He's going to be co-host of TMZ Sports, and Nikki Bella is going to be a judge on the next season of America's Got Talent, which is called America's Got Talent Extreme, which, if you go by extreme rules, means absolutely normal.
Extreme. Just go back all the way to the 2000s where it's just Extreme.
Xtreem.
Yeah, there you go. Extreme. Yeah, good for her. Nikki Bella wants to. I don't know why I said it like that, but good for her, Nikki Bella. You know, she wants to.
Pulling a Christian Bale. Good for you.
Oh, good for you. And how was it?
Yeah, good for her, though. I mean, she said recently that she's still pretty much in the I can't wrestle.
I wrote that article. I'll tell you, as the first person to listen to that interview and do that article, I'm happy that it made the rounds. But yeah, she basically said that she's retired for life, which it doesn't mean anything. She also said in the same breath, but maybe in 3 years I'll try to get unretired. So I said get to wrestle. But I'm happy for her.
Well, we know that sometimes if you're NWO for life, it doesn't mean anything. So if you're retired for life, maybe a different story.
And especially in wrestling, it's never meant anything.
So I don't watch America's Got Talent. I used to for the first, I don't know, maybe a couple seasons, maybe not even that much. When it originally came out, it was one of those things where it was like, there's not as much to watch, and I'll put it on when I'm eating dinner or something. And then it got to the point where I'm like, all right, it's literally just, what's the sappy story of the musician that, it turns out that they're really good at singing, even though they're, really unattractive or something, and it's like, okay, I'm not going to watch that 100 times over. I'm, hey, the little kid sings really well. Cool. Good for that person. You watch the show. I won't. That kind of deal. And,
God, you're, somebody got a bah humbug up their butt. What's going on there, Tony?
Well, there's not much substance to it.
There, Tony. What's going on here? They need some substance and you need some less salt, pal. What are you doing?
I had a bad steak for dinner. So maybe it's that.
Yeah.
Got all ruined. I don't know how it turned out like that. But, yeah, America's Got Talent Extreme. I won't be watching it, but good for Nikki Bella to do something else, have a little bit of fun. And good for Mojo Rawley to be on TMZ Sports. It seems like he'd probably have fun doing that.
Yeah. And that's all about all I have to say about that as well. Also, Braun Strowman, arm wrestling judge on Mr. Olympia. If we can manage it, no promises, maybe a dark cast, I'd like to watch the Free the Narrative thing with you.
When's that coming out?
It comes out tomorrow. So we can get our hands on a copy. Maybe I'll watch it with you.
Might not be able to watch it tomorrow, but maybe Sunday.
I mean, not like tomorrow, but we'll get around to it.
Yeah, we'll maybe darkcast that. Stay tuned for that, everybody, if that's the case. Another hosting gig going on right now is they're switching up things with Raw Talk and Talking Smack. Matt Camp is going to be joined with a new co-host, Jackie Redmond, who I never heard of before this.
Kevin, what's his face?
Kevin Patrick? I guess they're going to probably use him as more of just like an interview guy. Which I'm totally fine with, I mean, he seems like he does well enough in that job. But Jackie Redmond is apparently somebody who has been in the sports broadcasting thing for a little while, mostly NHL, if I remember correctly from doing a little bit of research.
Yeah, I saw many NHL mics in her hand.
So I'm not familiar with her just because I don't follow hockey. But I'm sure that if she got the gig, I'm sure she's good enough for the job. Pretty girl, like pretty much every single person that they've had hired over the past 15, 20 years or so. So she's got that down if that's what they're looking for and everything. And I'm up for bringing in some new blood and trying some stuff out. Why not, right?
Yeah. Always willing to give somebody a chance.
Yeah. She could be the next Renee Young. She could be Charlie Caruso. Or she could be somebody who fizzles out and maybe NHL's better fit for her or something. We'll see. But let's give her a shot. Let's see how this works. I don't watch Raw Talk or Talking Smack because I don't have the time to waste it on, you just saw this thing, so let's recap it. I'm like, nah, I can't.
So I was a big proponent of Talking Smack when Paul Heyman was on the show. But he's not anymore. So I no longer watch those products either.
Yeah, if you're not going to bring something to the table, like how he would, tell Bianca Belair stuff like, you got to believe in yourself because you're Bianca fucking Belair kind of things, essentially, then really what's the point? If it's just going to be, we're going to run down the things in pure WWE kayfabe mode, I'm going to see a recap next week anyway.
Right.
Hopefully Matt Camp and Jackie Redmond get the right chemistry together with all these people, and hopefully it's fun. We might have to watch Talking Smack and Raw Talk for this week because they might be doing supplemental picks.
Oh, I fully expect them to do supplemental picks.
That's what they've done the past couple of years, but they haven't announced it because this year they decided to not announce almost anything.
You know what? I don't blame them. Think about it, Tony. 2 years ago, they literally released the full draft list in order of how they were drafted.
Yeah, but see, you shouldn't say, I don't blame you for not doing the thing because you fucked up in the past.
But if you can't get on the same page, right? Like, if the right hand just won't talk to the left, maybe let's just stop using our hands. That's terrible.
Are they headbutting the keyboard trying to pass this information on?
Wait. Take two. That's a terrible analogy.
Now I'm picturing there's somebody's trying to type with their feet and they're like, X, I hit the tab. But yeah, if they can't figure something out as simple as that, to just do something like put it in alphabetical order on an Excel spreadsheet. I mean, come on, guys. It's not that hard to use the phrase all the time.
But it is for them, apparently.
I think that's just something that goes around in the world these days where you say, look, it's not that hard. And somebody goes, but it is. And you're like, no, it isn't. Here's your tissue.
We've got a daddy issue. Here's a daddy tissue. I just dropped today on the Families Anonymous channel. Go check out our gold member watch.
That was today? Oh, yeah. That was today. Forgot about that because it was the week before we do that. So pay attention to those kind of things. If you are behind on the Review to a Kill series and you want to check that out heading into No Time to Die, like we had done at the beginning of the year, starting off with the very first Bond film, actually starting off with a pre-first Bond film discussion kind of deal. We got 36, 37 or so episodes of that podcast, ranging from all the movies to a bunch of tier lists to the Austin Powers trilogy fan tracks. So go to fanboysanonymous.com, check that out, and stay tuned for the No Time to Die stuff, and like and share and follow and favorite and subscribe and all that stuff. That's it's good over there. Check out the Venom review that I did. I just watched Venom last night.
I did, and I will say this: when we're not recording together, I do tend to actually, like to see what you got going on, and I watched the Venom review, and I felt very comfortable with my decision to eventually see the movie because, and you said this in your review, you know what you're getting for. People just want to see, at some point, Venom and Carnage fight.
Yep.
And it's like, that's enough.
So let's bounce to another thing here. Toni Storm is engaged to Juice Robinson. I didn't even know that there were a couple. Not that it was my business, but it's like, hey, you didn't tell me.
Formerly CJ Parker. Yeah, good for them. And good for WWE for shouting them out too and calling them Juice Robinson. And, a happy couple. Happy for them. Kudos.
Yeah, congrats to the happy couple. Love is in the air. Everywhere you look around.
I don't remember if we talked about this last week, but Scarlett and Karrion Kross engaged.
That's right, yeah. Totally forgot to add that into the hot tags last time. So
happy couple.
Post congrats when it comes to that for them as well.
What is it? Just like it's fall, so people just get engaged because.
Is this the? Is it the season? I don't remember for the whole. I'm blanking on the name. I just had it in my head. It's like not hooking season, but it's something cuffing season. Yeah, hooking. It's not like a bunch of hookers. Hooking season. Where everybody just goes to a street corner and they're just kind of like, hey.
I think it's the season of Hook. It's Taz's son is gonna run wild this season.
This is everywhere everybody goes Rufio. Good movie.
Yes, it is because. I think OkCupid sent me a notification like, "Hey, it's cuffing season. Hey, thanks for reminding me I'm single."
So maybe that's the case. I mean, there's Jeff J, who usually does Bleacher Report staff predictions and stuff. He just got engaged. Congrats to him.
Yeah, I saw that.
I of course have my wedding coming up.
You got engaged last year at this time.
Yep.
You were
September 6th. I was ahead of the trend though. It was in September.
Yeah, so, there you go.
I'm like, haha, you follow me on this, everybody. I set the trends. I'm the first to ever do this.
For the first time ever.
Yeah, for the first time. So, congrats to Toni Storm and Juice Robinson. Be interested to see what ends up happening there with that, especially because I was just like, wow, okay, they're a couple and they're engaged. Cool. Yeah. So switch over to another couple to talk about, Brandy and Cody Rhodes, because they had their premiere episode of Rhodes to the Top, the reality TV show on TNT, which, if you're talking about doing a review of Venom and saying, you know what you're getting into. Oh, you know what you're getting into when it comes to a reality show like this.
you know what, though? I've been listening to interviews with these two, and ad nauseum Cody says the same line to everyone. For the hardcore wrestling fan, they will be seeing unprecedented access behind the scenes, which may be a little scary for them. But this has never been done before, where you pull back the curtain this much. Now, granted, there is some truth to that.
There's also a lot of hyperbole.
Well, you don't see Vince McMahon on Total Divas. Well, you don't see Total Divas anymore because they got canceled. But, you don't see Vince McMahon on Total Divas when it was on. But you will see Tony Khan on this show. What did you think of the first episode?
Pros and cons. I was on like a full roller coaster. I wrote up something for EWN about it, and I had to keep adjusting it because originally my first thought was, wow, they're throwing everything out there at the beginning of this just to try to make sure that something can hook somebody in the first few minutes. It's like
Taz's son.
Like, yeah, like this is the thing about wrestling. This is the thing about this, and this is that. It was very much like cram a trailer's worth of, does any of this interest you? Please keep watching the episode. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to let that go. And I'm going to just chalk that up to, look, they're trying to make sure that they don't lose anybody in the first 5 minutes. Let's wait until they start getting into the actual episode. Pretty early on, I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're in store for. Where Cody is like, a promo is when a pro wrestler gets on the microphone and is trying to sell tickets for a professional wrestling show. And I was like, oh, no, they're going to do that. They're going to do the thing where it's like you're watching the show based off of not being a pro wrestling fan, and we have to smarten you up a little bit while dumbing down the pro wrestling fans, because you can't just get the pro wrestling fans because they're not the ones that are going to keep watching this. It's the ones that like the drama stuff. And I hate the drama stuff. I don't like any of these types of shows. The amount of times that I've seen Total Divas, Total Bellas, I watched Ms. and Mrs. for like 2 episodes or so. There's all those shows that my fiance loves. Caroline will watch like 90 Day Fiance and Real Housewives of Bumblefuck, whatever. I don't know. And I hate them. Because to me, it's all manufactured bullshit. It's all, the worst ones are the ones like the way that like Total Divas and Total Bellas were, where it was like, on this episode, Paige is going to argue with Alicia Fox, and here's the clips of them shrieking at each other because everybody overreacts because somebody's like, hey, you told me that you were going to drink water with ice in it, and I ordered water with ice, and you said you were going to do the same thing, and I got water without ice, and now that's why. And then it ends up being, at the end of it, we just realized that we're like sisters and we have to just fight together. And, and then it becomes next week on the show. But then you said about the ice, and it's like, oh, I fucking hate it with a passion.
All right, hold on. Is that a real, is that an event going on in your life where somebody got mad about ice?
I'm assuming that that's like one of those stupid things they would have had on those shows. Because they argue about it, the most ridiculous nonsense on that stuff. It's always like, Sandy invited me to this party and she didn't know that Sarah was there. And I don't like Sarah. Sarah one time, and I'm like, all right, this does not appeal to me, or the thing that they do with like
Sandy.
like Ms. and Mrs. type stuff where it's like, oh no, what are we going to do? The cake fell and the party's in an hour. And Maurice was like, I need to pick up the cake. Uh-oh. So when they start getting into some stuff where it's like, spoiler alert, I guess you could call it spoiler because it's technically kind of scripted and, whatever. But like they show Cody's sister Teal is her name, I think, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, Teal's a badass. She's a real gangster. I'm like, okay, you're setting up her character. This is the character you want her to play. She is the rough and tough. I don't take no shit from anybody. I kind of have a heart of gold, but I'm going to be the obtrusive family member. I'm like, all right, so how many times in this season is Brandy going to have an argument with her over something or whatever? And that's the way that goes. That's her character. Okay. And then Brandy's mom is, well, I'm a queen and you're all the princesses, but I'm the real queen here. I'm the one in charge. Okay, you're that one. Like, it's everybody doing that.
I love that I can hear your disdain for this kind of programming.
Because it's the most baseline, like, you know, it plays to the lowest common denominator kind of thing. And you can enjoy that type of stuff and not be a complete moron. I'm not saying that. But it does play for the people that are like, look, this is as simple as it can get. You shut your brain off, you put it on the background, and you tell yourself, well, at least I'm not like those people, because that's what it pretty much is. And when they got into that stuff, hated the show. But when they showed things like Cody is talking with Tony Khan and Ricky Starks about whether he should like sit back and like heal up his neck a little bit, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, as a pro wrestling fan, I like the stuff where they talk about the pro wrestling.
I liked a majority of what I saw. I didn't get as far as the family. Like, I didn't get as far as, you know, I saw the Rhodes family. I didn't get as far as Brandy's mom. But, you know, I like what I saw. I thought it was the cutest thing that, like, Lee Johnson comes up to Cody.
Yeah, I like that.
Julia Hart. And she's like, hey, we just wanted to tell you that, we're together. And Cody's like, oh, congratulations. And it's like, it was just the most awkward, like, two high school freshmen tell like their teacher, hey, guess what, Miss Smith? We're dating now.
Then they like hold hands awkwardly and kind of like move it up and down, like, yeah, kind of. I thought the same sort of thing. It's like, hey, Dad, I'd like you to meet my new girlfriend, Julia. Hi, Mr. Rhodes. Hi, Mr. Nightmare Family. They have the Nightmare Family, so he's Mr. Nightmare, right?
Yeah, there you go.
So, I mean, if you like those kind of programs, definitely check it out. If you already know that you hate those programs,
like you apparently do,
you're probably not going to really love it. But, you know, if you're at the least bit curious, give it a shot. Make your decision yourself. Good things are good. If you like something, you like it. That's as simple as it is. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's an hour. That's less than an hour if you skip through the commercials, which you should do because commercials should not be a thing. But, yeah, 40 minutes out of your time. If you start watching 20 minutes into it and you still hate it, don't watch the rest of the 20 minutes. You're not going to get anything different. So it's a thumb wherever you want to put it. Up, down, middle. Probably shouldn't say wherever you want to put it.
Yeah.
But somebody out there is like, well.
And hey, you do you, somebody out there.
Yeah, Barry. What other hot tags we have going on? We got confirmation that the King of the Ring tournament and the Queen's Crown tournament are going to not only start next week, but they're going to more than likely continue on and finish up on Crown Jewel. But those are the names they're going to go with, as expected. We got the logos. It's a slight variation of what we had seen with some other stuff in the past. New logo for King of the Ring. I think this is like their 5th King of the Ring logo.
I like the logos.
It's not bad. I like it. I've liked the other King of the Ring ones better, but this one's okay.
Well, nothing's ever going to beat the first one.
That's the one that's like the most iconic, yeah. It's hard to beat that. It's kind of like...
I didn't like the Attitude Era one. It had the Royal Gothic font, but I just, after a while, didn't like it. Would like to see some kind of throwbacky one to the one from the 90s, but a little more updated.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they've got it here, it's pretty simple. It's just, you know, a crown and whatever, which, yeah, okay. You don't need to do much more than that. But the specifics about this have not been announced beyond the fact that it's going to start next week on SmackDown, which is apparently the season premiere because they classify those things. And
actually, you know what? Looking at the ones again, I think this might be the best one I've seen since the one from the 90s.
Yeah.
I like the crown. I like the font. I really like the Queen's Crown tournament logo. Kudos to them. Make this a pay-per-view. Every year, the Royal Rumble's dedicated to the Royal Rumble, but still, like, do something with that. Like, these look like great logos. Kudos to them.
I'm glad that they're doing a Queen one because that's long overdue.
And I'm glad it's not just Queen of the Ring.
Yeah, because it doesn't have the same ring to it, technically speaking, and literally, you know.
You found another way, the Queen's Crown. I like it. I'm going with Carmella to win, or for me, it's the same thing. It's either Carmella wins and it's a new wrinkle to her character, or Morgan wins and she gets jumped by Charlotte Flair.
I don't have any strong opinions right now because of the draft still being kind of up in the air.
Well, it won't finish until after Crown Jewel anyway, so
yeah.
Or it won't go into effect until after Crown Jewel. So really, the draft doesn't matter here.
But if the setup, for instance, is like there's a pretty obvious person who could challenge Charlotte Flair, then maybe she wins. But then it depends on who's going to be on that roster, that kind of deal. So for right now, just a purely blind, I don't know, whatever the hell kind of pick. I think I'd lean more towards, at least for the Queen's Crown side of things, I think I'd go more for somebody that has like nothing at all going on right now. And
so everybody?
So like not Rhea or Nikki, not obviously with any of the champions or whatever. Kind of thinking maybe they actually go with Sasha. Just because it would be like, well, she didn't win the championship, but oh wait, no, she can't because they announced that match for Crown Jewel. All right, yeah. So can do that. All right, let's switch that up then. Let's go with
B-Fab.
Nah, it can't be B-Fab. I really hope it's not Eva Marie. But
no, say the name right.
No, I'm not doing that. Fandango. I don't know. Maybe Asuka's ready to come back. Be kind of neat. Give her that. It's like the one thing that Asuka hasn't done yet.
Yeah, because she did win King with the Royal Rumble.
She won Royal Rumble. She won Money in the Bank, Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, NXT Women's Champion, SmackDown Tag, or Raw and SmackDown Tag. She needs to go back to NXT and win the NXT Women's Tag just to be like, yeah, I'll fucking take that too, you know. I'll go with Asuka for right now. I'll probably change my mind and by Monday. And then for the men, I have no idea.
It's Jinder.
You think Jinder?
It's Jinder. What
if it's Mansoor?
For Christ's sake, no.
They do love giving him a big spotlight. He won that, what was it, the Greatest Battle Royal?
Yeah, no, it was the most people ever in a Battle Royal, because it was like 51 men or something.
Biggest Battle Royal ever, whatever they called it. Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. But
did you know that Crown Jewel can equal or exceed WrestleMania?
That was Super Showdown.
Hey, whatever.
But at least we got confirmation that this is going to be the thing. So that's good. That's cool. I'm interested to see that. I'll be writing up some stuff about it. I'll be tracking it. We'll be talking about it over the course of, the way that this plays out. So moving on from the King of the Castle and everything else we have going on here. Dated references, all hell. Let's talk about some TV stuff. We're going to end things with SmackDown. So we're going to start off with AEW, because we don't usually start off with AEW. Why the hell not? We usually go Monday Night Raw and marry on that thing.
AEW is very nice.
Dynamite. Adam Cole against Jungle Boy. Hell of a match. That was fun.
I mean, those two guys. First of all, Adam Cole's theme song is number 1 on the iTunes heavy metal charts, which says to me, great song. But that says to me that only pro wrestling fans are still buying their music through iTunes. On top of that, you get to hear Tarzan Boy, which is just a fucking blast.
Yeah, great song.
And then they go out there and wrestle, and they have a good time. You know why? Because good things
are
good.
Yeah, it's you can't go wrong with two great wrestlers having a great wrestling match after coming out to two great themes. So that was the hell of a way to start things off.
There you go. Adam Cole wins. He's undefeated. He should be on the rankings by next week. You know, he should be on the rankings. We'll see. And then there was no immediate. Yes, there was an immediate run-in because the Elite comes out. They have fun with their promo. Nakazawa gets a microphone and says, "I have nothing to say." And then they hand the microphone to Kenny, who says he'll never wrestle Bryan again. Out comes Bryan, who says, "Yes, you will, because the people want it, and I want it. And, you know, if you won't wrestle me, I'll wrestle one of your other guys." So they end up setting up a Nick Jackson match for Rampage and an 8-man tag for next week with Bryan, Christian, and Jurassic Express against the Young Bucks, Adam Cole, and Kenny Omega. That should be a great match for the 2-year episode of Dynamite. That was a hot way to open the show. I mean, what are you thinking about Daniel Bryan in AEW at this point?
Good stuff. I mean, he gets to do what he wants to do, which is wrestle, without having too much other shit bogging him down. You know, he doesn't have to have an imaginary relationship with Chelsea Green, or, you know, cut some, you know, sterilized promo backstage in front of a tilted TV screen, or, you know, he just goes out there and he's like, "Yeah, I'm Daniel Bryan, or I'm Bryan Danielson. I wrestle, you know it. I'm going to wrestle you. I'm going to beat you." And people are like, "Well, yeah, I want to see that." And yeah, it's as simple as that. Kazarian and Christian, all them in the mix, and you let them do their thing. Oddly enough, a pro wrestling show about pro wrestling is fun for pro wrestling fans.
Let's be clear. I don't want to beat this drum too much, but that's why I like Dynamite. That's why I like AEW. They're doing a wrestling show. And even with them trying to branch out, like, Rhodes to the Top didn't feel like, "Oh, we're going to get to find out Brandy and Cody ate for brunch." You know, just like, hey, this is their lives doing wrestling.
But then, you know, that there are people that are watching those shows and they're just kind of like, "But what did they have for brunch, though?
For brunch?
Did they have ice in their water?"
You know, like, what is with you?
So Cody Rhodes and his adopted high school teenage son, Lee Johnson, I guess, based on what we were talking about before. Lee Johnson and Cody Rhodes beat Dante Martin and Matt Sydal.
And then Grandpa Arn.
Yeah, Grandpa Arn starts talking about his gun.
Grandpa, my God, he might have called Cody Rhodes a pussy. Like, what was this? He was just like, "Hey, you know what, Cody? You, if somebody steals your car, get afraid and say, 'No, don't hurt me.' I pull out the Glock, put it to their forehead, and spill their brains all over the road. My Lord."
Like, not the direction I was expecting this promo to go, especially when he starts talking about, "You shouldn't be worried about me ringside. You should be worrying about Aleister Black or Malachi Black." And I'm thinking that's kind of it. Like, he should just be like, "So you got to buck up and you got to focus on yourself, buddy." And instead he's like, "And I used to fucking shoot people."
And then he's like, "Oh, I'd fight him myself, Cody, but I'm just too damn old. Because, you know, when I was younger, I just fucking shoot people." Like,
and he's released a t-shirt with the word "Arn" with the R being a gun, which is just amazing. And I think it was Peyton. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Peyton, though. Had said, "I guess we found out that Arn's the one who gave Big Show his gun." old school joke from Smack Talk, talking God knows how many years at this point, probably 2013 or so.
I mean, let's be fair here. The way things turn around so fast, Arn Anderson was trending. People started calling him Armed Anderson, which is fantastic.
That's perfect.
Which is fantastic.
Armed.
And then CM Punk's like commentary, and he goes, "Listen, Arn Anderson had a body count in the 80s. He never needed a gun to get any of them, though. Just like, wow. Oh,
That's great.
oh my God.
It's like the hell with the match. The best part about it was that promo at the end.
Like, Arn Anderson, bravo. Best thing of the week.
I want to see Arn do the opening gun barrel in the next Bond film. Anthony Green popping up on AEW again with Bear Country, losing to Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, and Darby Allin, the misfit mofos or whatever you want to call them. I don't know.
Moxley is fucking thick. When did he's becoming a big boy. And I don't like that. I think this is the best way possible because I love it. Like, he's just full barrel chested, like, man. Like, rugged man. And I'm like,
he's a dad now, so he's going to try to get the dad bod.
And then, like, if Vince saw this version of him, he'd probably be like, fuck, there it is. That's my guy. Like, I love it.
Orange Cassidy and Dark Order beat the HFO. Leo Rush popped up back up again. He's going to show up in AEW again after retiring for like the fourth time. Was it third time? So cool. I mean, I wanted him to go to AEW, so cool.
He's LBO Rush now. Like, what did he say he was doing? He's like buying out properties and investments to make sure that, you know, he and his people stay up. He could have like a few big money, Matt. He could be a manager for a while.
Probably maybe he's going to just repeat somebody's last name like Lashley.
I would say probably my favorite thing he ever said in wrestling was Lashley. Lashley. That's so good.
We got some stuff with Taikon Shi and Anna Jay beat the Bunny and Penelope Ford. And we got a new TNT champion. Sammy Guevara defeated Miro.
Good match. Good ending. Sammy deserves it.
Agreed.
Yeah, and you skipped over MJF cutting a promo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
masterful.
The MJF and Darby Allin thing. Some people were doing the same thing that happens all the time with MJF of he went too far this time, and I'm like, nope. If Darby Allin's okay with it, that's all that matters.
He called Darby Allin a school shooter mime on a skateboard.
And said that Darby Allin's uncle had gotten into a car accident from drinking and driving or something, and that he died.
And Darby was in the car.
Darby should have been the one that died instead. Which is just like, if he's okay with it.
For me, I'm going to say he went too far, but the school shooter mime on a skateboard, I was like, wow, okay. We're just like, okay, sure. It fits, but, you know, didn't think we were openly saying school shooter. Like, because I know it's such a touchy subject for people. Right. But yeah, great promo. And he also said he has Bruce Pritchard on speed dial.
Yeah, I thought that was funny, that bringing up the Bruce Pritchard stuff.
Of all the cons in the industry, you're in my top two, Tony. I thought that was funny.
My favorite part of the Rhodes to the Top episode was a preview for an upcoming, like, you know, here's like clips that you're going to see over the next couple episodes types of deal. And there's a moment of it, I forget what he says, but MJF says something like, he pops into a room and he says like, are you good? Or something to Cody. And then he's like, nah, I'm just kidding. Nobody gives a shit. Just walks away.
Nice.
MJF, it's great. So go back to Sammy. I loved the sequence at the end where he hits the tornado DDT, and that's something that really throws off Miro and allows him to hit a couple more signature maneuvers to get the win, because that puts Miro over as like, look, it took an all-on onslaught to get him to beat him for that championship, and he pulled it out. So it's good for both. And they immediately go into, and Bobby Fish is challenging for the championship.
Yep. And I missed that because I had seen the Men of the Year thing. I missed when they said, and it's Bobby Fish. That's rad, dude. Bobby Fish and Adam Cole, less than a year from their last War Games, are in AEW.
And is this the first time that Bobby Fish, and he might have been NXT, I don't remember for sure. I don't remember him contending for a singles championship.
No, I don't think he did.
If he did, I'm sure it would have been like, he's got a number one contenders match for the North American title, and it's everybody just goes, all right, he's not winning, like that kind of deal. But that's cool for him, you know? Sammy Guevara is going to beat him. but it's going to put a little bit of a spotlight on Bobby Fish that he hasn't had in a while. How do you dislike it, you know?
Again, it's plain as day, but good things are good.
So Bryan Danielson beat Nick Jackson on Rampage just to keep with the AEW stuff going on here. Another good match.
Good match. Yeah.
Not surprised.
Bryan Danielson is having all the fun in the world. He won with the cattle mutilation, which is something he hasn't won with in a while. And I love it.
We got a couple like video packages and stuff. Nothing really too much going on here. Eventually Jade Cargill beats Thunder Rosa and Nyla Rose by pinfall. Triple threat match. Cargill wins. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, great match. I thought the chair, like, she had clearly never swung a chair before. She was, as you should, try to protect, you know, your dance partner. She's coming in so late with the chairs, but it almost looked too late. But I like the fact that the chairs got the job done, and that match was more extreme than Extreme Rules.
Imagine that.
There's table spots, trash can spots, chairs. Loved it.
Then we had a hair versus hair match. Orange Cassidy beating Jack Evans. I loved in the promo heading onto this. Jack Evans is there with Matt Hardy. They're being interviewed by Mark Henry. On the opposite side of the screen is Orange Cassidy. And Orange Cassidy's like, yeah, what are we doing? what am I doing here? Oh, okay. So
it's a hair versus hair match.
So if you lose, you get your hair shaved. And he's like, oh, so I guess I'm not going to lose. He's so good. Orange Cassidy's fucking great. And he beats Jack Evans. So Rampage goes off the air with these two warring factions of the Hardy family office. And then you got some Dark Order members. You got the Best Friends, etc. All kind of getting ready to clash. But Jack Evans gets his head shaved.
And -1, kudos to him. That kid deserves it. He's having such a fun time. He gets the spotlight for the final moment in Rochester. And kudos to him, but yeah, Jack Evans gets his head shaved. And I'm just glad it was an orange, because as Taz said, he never noticed, but Orange Cassidy has a beautiful head of hair.
Very tightly coiffed. Is that what it is? Coiffed?
Yes.
Coiffed, whatever. Coiffed.
Coiffed. Not coiffed.
Coiffed. I don't know what coiffed is, but it doesn't sound right. So yeah, Jack Evans gets his head shaved, at least partially. I'm assuming that they're going to shave the rest of it off, but what are they going to do? Sit there and manually do every single little bit of it and, you know, take up all this time in the world? Nah, they cut a little bit in the center and then they're like, look at that, you're, you know, deformed now or whatever. Even though there's other people like Hawk in the past who's like, that's my haircut.
Yeah.
I always thought that was funny. Hawk and Animal. It's like, if you put their heads together, they make a full haircut. Why?
They can plug right into each other.
Just because they didn't have any kind of move where they like headbutted each other to like, oh, okay, you insert your hair into my hair or anything. I don't know why they would have wanted to have that kind of hairstyle for years and years and years. But
well, they didn't. They wanted it to be different in 1983, and then it's just, oh shit, we're stuck. All right.
So if you're in the interest of wanting to shave a bunch of things, you want to make sure that you got the right tools to do it, then you should definitely take advantage of our sponsors for this episode, and have been sponsoring quite a bit for our podcast for the past couple of months now, Manscaped. If you go over to manscaped.com/smark, that's SMARK for our vanity URL, you will get 20% off and free shipping, and you can do that on all the different products that they have over there. So even though these products are designated for trimming your balls and everything else that goes along with that, you can use them on other parts of your body as well. I mean, they've got the advanced skin safe technology to make sure that you're not going to cut yourselves. If you use the Lawnmower 4.0 in particular, I've actually used that to like clean up around my ears, just like, you know, sideburn type stuff, and make sure that I'm not going to cut my ears up, because I've had that happen in the past with like you know, one of the types of like, you know, hardcore type of shaver type deals for, you know, you clean up your beard and whatever. And that's been like, oh, okay, as soon as I got close to the top of my ear, dicing it up like crazy. Not the same when it comes to the Lawnmower 4.0. So if you want to get one of those and you want to do that, I would advise not to do the same haircut that Jack Evans has, but hey, maybe you're into that. If you are, you have the right to be able to do it. You're the king of the castle, so you can pick that up. You can pick up all the different products that they have on top of that. You know, if you want your nose trimmer, get the weed whacker. If you want to get the ball toners or the deodorants or anything else like that. I know that Callum's been saying that he's a big fan of those in particular. And, you know, anything that you pick up on that site, if you use that code, well, that not the code anymore, but the URL itself, manscaped.com/smark. As long as you head on over to there before you check out, that stuff's going to apply. 20% off and free shipping. It's a hell of a good deal. Take advantage of it while you can.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, you do just want to make sure that you are presentable, because one day you're going to meet a very lovely woman and you're going to want to be like, my wife, that you will be able to do if you don't, you know, trim up where you need to.
I don't know why we're getting into these Borat things tonight.
We're here, we're down the rabbit hole, it just is.
But I'm sure that if Borat wanted to clean up the stuff that he's got, the what was it, the pubis is what he kept saying in the movie, that would have been the perfect thing for him. He should have had a subscription to the performance boxes and everything that they have over at Manscaped. He could have been that would have been very useful for him. So if you can go back in time and take a fictional character and give him this information, manscaped.com/smark. And, you know, while you're showing your support and picking up something like that, it helps us out, helps yourself out by getting it. Your balls are going to thank you. And Manscaped is going to thank you. And we're going to thank you for that. So thank you to Manscaped as well for sponsoring us. And thank you for anybody who picks anything up. Moving along here. Should go back to Monday Night Raw. Let's go back to Raw, kind of circle backwards. We had this whole setup with Big E and Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. And they did what I think it was you that you were saying, leaning more towards this idea that they're going to drag that out throughout the night. Look at that. That's what they did. They have a no contest to start things off. And they go, yeah, later on, you're going to have another match and it's going to be a steel cage match. And people are like, that's why the steel cage is there. Because they always set it up ahead of time. But we also got the reunion of the Hurt Business.
Hate it.
Hate it. I love it.
No, we're not doing this game. Like, I was so mad on Monday because everybody was just like, yay, Hurt Business. I'm like, no. The one dude was just telling Shelton Benjamin, oh, your career's dead and I'm tired of saving you. And they're getting their ass kicked by Lashley. They should have never broken up. Am I glad they're together? Sure. But, like, logic. You know what you could have done? You could have had them bump into Lashley. You've got 40 million social media accounts. You can have them bump into Lashley in a backstage that you show on social media, and then have them be the ones to jump the New Day with Lashley at the pay-per-view. They do the 6-man, and then you're like, oh, bada bing, bada boom, Her Business. They're back together. By the way, here's a steel cage match for Monday Night Raw. Instead of cramming it all in one night. Or you do the steel cage match on the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Or you do the Extreme Rules cage pay-per-view. I'm flustered. I'm trying to get
the Extreme Rules cage pay-per-view.
You do the cage match at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view because it's that actual Extreme Rules match. It was a great match on Monday Night Raw. It was a great 6-man at the pay-per-view. Quite frankly, it was a lot of fun. I like seeing the New Day together. Guess I won't be seeing that much longer, will I?
Yeah. We're gonna get into that.
Well, I'll get there. You know, I had to get that off my system.
So it's amazing how a couple of days change, because on Monday Night Raw, it's, oh, cool. They finally realized their mistake. They've got the Hurt Business back together, as they should be, because they never should have broken up to begin with. And we're going to get, some good stuff going forward. Okay, we'll put a pin in that. Garza and Humberto Carrillo, they're the tag team that we had talked about before that, thankfully they put them together. They beat the Viking Raiders, who desperately need to move over to SmackDown, and I hope that's the case. Reggie beat Ricochet. Well, no, he didn't beat Ricochet, but he retained the 24/7 championship in a no contest because they did something that, you know what? It's kind of dumb, but it's kind of brilliant. The 24/7 championship rule is suspended during matches. So what does Drake Maverick instruct everybody to do? Interrupt the match and jump Reggie when he's least expecting it. Yeah. Cool.
Well, yeah. You cause a disqualification, match is over, rules back on, now chase him.
Now, the execution of it, not the best, but, you know, could have been worse. So, that is what it is. Riddle has, what's that?
Go ahead. This title is so silly.
Yeah. It's outlived its usefulness by a long time now.
But no, because Reggie's TikTok and WWE's got the most followers on TikTok. And listen, I don't get it, but that's for somebody. It just ain't for me.
So we had a follow-up thing with that with Tozawa said he demands a match. Doesn't matter who it's against. And it's against Keith Bearcat Lee.
Bearcat! No, say it right. Come on.
I am not a fan of it. I mean, we've talked about it in the past with things like me saying that the gun barrel on one of the Bond films is a little too pointy. I can be very specific about some things, and I will say this. Keith Bearcat Lee is infinitely...
I don't know why you're complaining about this. You know they're just softening you up for when they drop it to just Bearcat Lee.
Oh, more than likely. But I hate that it's Keith Bearcat Lee as opposed to Bearcat Keith Lee.
No, it's got to be Keith Bearcat Lee so they can drop it to just
Bearcat Lee. And I don't want that to happen. Yeah, then probably just Bearcat. I hate it.
Bear, and then it'll just be Bear.
Or what if he's just Cat?
You know?
BC.
BC.
BC Lee. They like it, Nikki ASH. Maybe it's BC Lee. You know,
BC.
Almost a Bearcat. See, squashes Tozawa. And yeah, already people are doing things about like that they're calling him Keith Man Bear Pig Lee, just because Bearcat just sounds like so weird. Like that type of an animal is not something that's in the public the way that, you know, a lion.
My dad, we used to hunt the Bearcats, and we used to walk 15 miles in the snow.
It's like, you know, sheriff in town was saying that the one that ate that little Jimmy boy was one of those mountain lions. I tell you, I saw that thing. That was one of them Bearcats. Like, you know, that kind of thing. I don't like the name. I don't like the Keith Bearcat Lee. Just like I've always hated Bret Hitman Hart. Now, Bret the Hitman Hart. I'm very particular about some of those things. And it's not, you get, oh God, what's his name? We were just talking about him with the Mark Henry, It's Time thing. What's his name? Michael Buffer.
Oh, yeah.
When Michael Buffer for the one Royal Rumble 2008, where he's like, HBK, Heartbreak Kid. And you're like, Shawn Michaels. Say Shawn Michaels. Hey, he had a little card. He should have read it. No excuse. He can read.
He probably just said HBK, parentheses, Heartbreak Kid, and that's he didn't read the bottom part.
Left hand's not talking to the right hand. The left hand was responsible for writing HBK Heartbreak Kid. Right hand was like, I'm not writing Shawn Michaels. You did your words, so I'm not going to do mine.
Just stop using your hands. That's what I'm saying. No, but look, Keith Bearcat Lee. It's a name. It's fine. The internet this week was like, oh, I like it. I think it pays tribute to history. And I'm like, we weren't saying this last week. Where's the consistency? What, you know, whatever.
They're like, yeah, but I had dinner and now I'm not grumpy. That kind of thing. I took a nap and now I've changed.
Maybe that was my problem on Monday. No, but like you would have Vince would always say, the Hitman, Bret Hart. But Howard Finkel was always, Bret Hitman Hart. It always depends on who says what. I prefer saying the Hitman
Yeah,
but,
the Hitman just rolls off the tongue better.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But he also says in the SummerSlam, so what do we know?
Well, at least it's not the Summerfest.
Oh, that's true. That sounds more proper. In the Summerfest.
Yeah, we're going to be getting quite a bit of Keith Bearcat Lee for a while.
Bearcat! I don't like Austin Rome. Mike Rome, what's his name?
Mike Rome. Do you call him Austin Rome?
Yeah, it's his real name, isn't it?
No, it's Mike, isn't it?
Isn't his real name Austin?
Now I'm curious. Let's see. Mike Rome. Oh, no, it is Austin. Austin Romero.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Austin Michael Romero. I didn't know that. You learn something new every day.
So, I like Mike Rome, but not my favorite introduction.
Who was his girlfriend or whatever? Vanessa something or Veronica, Victoria, some kind of V name.
Is that Rome? Yeah, it might be Rome.
Whoever she is, she's a knockout. Vanessa Kraft.
Shout out to her.
Yeah. So
She's good friends with Blitz too, right? They do the Disney stuff together.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Huh. I'm learning all this stuff real quick.
Those ring announcers live pretty good lives. Like, they have to do the whole gig without having to take the bumps. Not bad.
Yeah, but then they get reduced to that they're just microphone stands because, you know, they're not allowed to have personalities unless you're Kayla with Paul Heyman.
Which is amazing, by the way.
So Damian Priest won a no disqualification match. You would have thought that this would have happened at Extreme Rules too, right?
You don't say.
They have a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules that for like 10 years was every match should have a gimmick match, but we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to whittle it down. And then you do 2 fucking gimmick matches the next night. Come on, WWE, knock it off with the pay-per-view stuff. Stop acting like they're special events if you don't want people to value that over the TV shows. Stop spreading yourself thin. Don't call it Extreme Rules then. Just don't. Call it No Mercy. At least Priest won, though.
Yeah.
I didn't think that he was going to be losing the championship, but with the draft coming up, you never know with some of those things. So the fact that they did, Sheamus just gets another title match immediately afterward. There was part of me that's like, oh, okay, maybe they do some kind of fuck finish here, and then Sheamus takes that belt over or something. But Priest retains. We have a little bit of backstage things with Mustafa Ali and Mansoor talking about teaming with Jeff Hardy, and Mansoor's all like, dude, it's fucking Jeff Hardy. And Mustafa Ali's like, I don't fucking care, you know?
What is with these backstage promos? They have lost all sense of how to interact with a human. They're just completely robotic throughout all of these segments now.
I guess that's how Vince likes it.
They can't be.
Oh, look at how some of the other things over the past couple of years have been. It's got to be. It's either Vince or it's Kevin Dunn.
That I might believe. I don't know. Look, I just think that everybody's too robotic.
Well, robotic is, I guess, how you would say with Keith Lee's promo that he did. You see that where it's like, hey, you know, what's going on with this new attitude or whatever? You have anything to say about that? No. I was like, okay, cool.
Well, at least he's honest.
Karrion Kross got a promo that he beat Jackson Riker. AJ Styles beat Riddle.
Riddle. I don't know why I'm in the mood to just make fun of the way this guy announces people.
We had an open challenge for the Raw Women's Championship that became not an open challenge because Doudrop said, me. And they said, we'll give you the title match if you do your hand thingy. And she did. So she is definitely the Emma thing. And she went full blown with that. I don't know if you noticed it, but she was fucking feeling that song. And I'm like, all right, she got told, we want you to quote unquote have more personality, finger quotes here. And we want you to go at a 12. You need to do this hand wavy thing and you need to dance and you need to apparently lip sync your theme and just be all live your underneath all this other stuff to try to get people to pay more, to get like, okay, I'm excited because Dewdrop's coming out. She doesn't need to do this shit. She's fine. But they think, I guess, that without that, like, well, what are we going to do? She's not, bombastic enough or something. She ended up losing to Charlotte Flair anyway. So.
Yeah, because Eva Marie came out and was like, I'm going to distract you. And then Charlotte was like, what'd you do that for? You know what? My God. She did the Andrade. You remember Chavo helps Andrade be Pac, and he's like, no, you don't. And he beats up Chavo. That's exactly what you did to Eva Marie. And then Eva got killed by Shayna Baszler. It was great.
Yeah, so Baszler going after two heels now.
And as the crowd chants,
one more time. Yeah.
Dude.
And then when she doesn't do it, they go, boo. Then Big E retained the WWE Championship over Bobby Lashley in that steel cage match, and that led to Drew McIntyre coming out pointing a sword. That's not a euphemism. At Big E, and pretty much, broadcasting to everybody, okay, those two fighting at Crown Jewel.
And they can do that for reasons that we'll get into in a second.
They can not only do that for those reasons, but I will say at least this makes sense. Drew McIntyre couldn't get a WWE Championship match as long as Bobby Lashley was champion. As soon as not soon, but right when the opportunity comes where it's like, all right, he's not champion anymore. You are definitively the champion. You've gotten past Bobby Lashley. You've beaten him. I want to be the next in line. Yeah, logic. Can't fault him for that.
Nor will we.
No DQ match started off NXT. B-Fab losing to Elektra Lopez.
Hit Row.
If you don't know what happens with Hit Row, you'll know eventually. We'll tell you. That's not how it goes, but I like that. We got some Index honeymoon stuff here. Johnny Gargano afraid of the fact that they might bone. So he pretends to be a shark. And we get some stuff with a pillow fight and a giant roll of condoms.
Yeah.
I laughed.
Where is this going?
I have no idea. Because you would think Indy Hartwell wearing what she's wearing, laying on the bed, you got to know where that's going to lead. And it turns out that he's just giving a thumbs up to Johnny Gargano holding up the things and stuff. This is the type of weird stuff in pro wrestling that if I were to show this to somebody who doesn't get it, I would be embarrassed.
Well, no, if you show this, if you isolate this clip and you show it to somebody, they go, oh, what television show is this? Maybe I want to check it out. And then you go, it's wrestling. And
then they go, what?
Oh.
What type of wrestling is this? But I think it's funny. So, yeah, a little bit of variety. Why not? We got a Joe
2.0 is all about.
We got a Joe Gacy thing. He's just reassuring everybody that this is still going to be a safe space, and
he's not canceled, Tony.
Yeah, he's not canceled. He is also going to resolve conflicts without throwing a single punch. In the grand scheme of things, nobody is going to pay much attention to this, but for somebody like me, it is kind of weird.
It's going to be the thing that gets over.
It's weird to me that, I don't know, the past couple of weeks or so leading up to that, he was totally fine being a normal wrestler, and then you add some paint drops all over the place at NXT, and suddenly he's a completely different person. Same with Josh Briggs and stuff, but you're not supposed to care because you're, every week could be potentially a new person watching the show, so we need to give them all that kind of breakdown sort of things.
Hey, we got Tony D'Angelo next week.
We did get a little Tony D'Angelo. He's talking about, hey, I got some docs over here, and my cousin Richie or whatever it was. Like, people skim a little bit off the top. It's okay, a little bit. It's okay, a little bit.
Hey, you know what? I might be coming to NXT 2.0 next week, and maybe I'll bring some gabagool.
Yeah. You skim a little off the top. It's okay. Skim a little bit more off the top, and I'm gonna go bada boom in your face.
Gabagool, and I'm gonna finish. And I'm gonna go backstage and eat the gabagool.
I hope every move that he does like the stereotypical Italian fingers.
Hands,
he just gets his hands in it. That's instead of doing chops, like a Ric Flair chop, he does that.
And instead of the woo, the crowd just goes, hey!
Yeah, that'd be so great. Just go like as stereotypical as you could get. Have some fun, you know?
I'm gonna be sleeping with the fishes. You do not.
Yeah, just make that his finisher. Sleeping with the fishes. Just do everything like that. Make everybody who's gonna like be a part of the creative team that goes into that. Make them watch The Godfather 1 and 2. You could skip 3, and make them watch Goodfellas, and just be like this. It's just that. Watch all the seasons of Sopranos. I'm
My
sure.
cousin
Like,
Vinny, you know.
yeah.
Like,
but I don't know. I don't watch Goodfellas. It's been too many years since I've watched that movie.
watch The Irishman if you can, you know, block out some time for it. Hey, Many Saints of Newark is out on HBO Max.
So I have not watched Sopranos. I've only seen a couple episodes here and there.
Tony,
So that's on my list of
for
binging.
hold on.
I didn't have
for God's
HBO
sake.
for the longest time.
Your name,
Right.
Tony.
I didn't have HBO when it was going on, and you know I'm gonna have to catch up on it. I have to go finish through House of Cards first, and then I'll go through Sopranos.
No
But-
gabagool for you.
Well, what if I woke up this morning and got some gabagool?
No, you don't get some gabagool, not even from Scooby Doo. You don't get to do it.
People are like, "What show is this again?" It's the show about the condoms and the safe space and the shark and the.
And the Italian guy who's not like from Chicago but Jersey, but
Yeah.
you know,
He's from Chicago, York. Yeah.
I love. You know, I grew up in the area of Chicago North. You know what I mean? Like that's where my buddies grew up. You had Johnny. Johnny was a student.
Would it be great if they piggyback off of the Orange Cassidy thing and it's like hailing from, hey, forget about it.
Hailing from, hey, don't you talk about my mother now.
Samoan Ghost. Nickname
Zion
for
Quinn?
Zion Quinn. It's a cool name. I like that.
it.
He
Much
beat
better
Oni
than
Lorcan.
Daniel Vidal.
Yeah, much better off than that. You got a MSK promo with some people coming out saying that they're, you know, they want to get some tag team title shot stuff. We're going to
They
get.
need to go up.
They might as well, right? I mean, I don't think that their act is really going to change. So if they've got it good enough, bring them onto the main roster and just move them up. Zoe Stark and Io Shirai, though, are seemingly not going to move up because they retained the Women's Tag Team Championship over Toxic Attraction, which I did not see coming. I thought that this was, all right, you're going to switch it over. Io Shirai is moving up. Zoe Stark's going to stay there. Nope. Jacy Jane and Gigi Dolan come up short.
But Mandy Rose coming up big as she seems to be the next challenger for the NXT Women's Championship.
Yeah, because Raquel Gonzalez defeated Frankie Monet, another one that I thought potential title change there. Didn't happen. Do you know that Mandy Rose had put out a thing saying that everybody kept saying that she was nothing but a hot blonde? So she dyed her hair brunette.
You know what?
It's like, hey, now you're a hot brunette.
Yeah, you know, I gotta say, thumbs up on the change. I think it looks better. I think it's, you know, Mandy Rose this week, I'm sold. You sold me on the new Mandy Rose.
They've sold me even more on Braun Breaker, despite the fact that he should be Rex Steiner, because he did a little vignette promo thing talking about how he is not a patient man and everything. He's going for the NXT Championship. And I'm like, all right, the guy can talk well enough.
My
Cool with
God,
that.
it's like it's in his blood.
Yeah.
Call him up. You don't need to go through NXT. I understand he's the only good thing about NXT right now. But don't call this man up. Like, just have him run through the Raw roster and fight Big E at WrestleMania.
I don't think I'd go that direction, but okay.
I mean, why not? Big E throws people. He's got the Steiner gear on, but him and Braun Breaker could just throw each other around. That's a match I'd want to see.
Well, so you have to keep Braun Breaker in NXT, at least until they get to the next In Your House, because then they need to bring in Rick Steiner, because Rick Steiner is a real estate agent. I got another one of his emails again yesterday or earlier today. Another thing about his real estate agency and everything. And
does he sell in your area?
No, but I get the emails. And, I'd like to see Rick Steiner pop up and be like, I sold this house. This is in your house, that kind of deal.
And he's going to go, and for the rest of you, you're going to the dog house.
And then Scott Steiner will pop up and be like, I don't know where the fuck I am, but I'm supposed to be here with whatever. And I'm just going to, here's math. Do it. Why not?
He needs to teach at Andre Chase University.
Oh, that'd be great. He's the math teacher. That'd be perfect. Do it. Because Samoa Joe's in NXT.
And you know what? Slow Joe, you got no chance.
Just have him pop up and do that. Just be like in the classroom. Samoa Joe's there, and Samoa Joe knows that and they just do it. Have some fun. Do the fun things.
God, it sounds so good.
This is like you're backstage pitching this to WWE, and you're like, AEW would do it.
So they're winning.
Yeah. Boa beat Andre Chase. Speaking of Andre Chase,
shame.
Roderick Strong defeated Grayson Waller, retained the Cruiserweight Championship.
You think he's a fan of DC Comics?
Nah, I mean, what's he gonna name himself? Like Bruce Kent?
No.
Kent Wayne?
Yeah, Ivy Quinzel.
He's gonna go with Ivy. Okay. LA Knight's gonna fight Odyssey Jones. They did a little thing backstage. Dante Chen got a spotlight. We got Lashing Out with Lash Legend, which was, here are three things I want to say, 3 sentences, essentially. I had a rebound record in the WNBA. Cora Jade should date Ike Manjiro, and I'd whoop Andre Chase's ass. See you later, everybody. Not the strongest start for this.
I don't hate it. It's different.
It's a little different in the sense that it's like, kind of like what's her name? Wendy Williams?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that instead of just her in the ring doing the same thing as everybody else. But I'm like, kind of wanted a little bit more out of that.
We'll get there.
Hopefully.
We need
Kyle
to
Riley.
just laughing and then
I always thought it was funny how he always said Mock Henry instead of Mark Henry. Just the way that his accent came out. It was Mock Henry. Kyle O'Reilly beat Ridge Holland. Afterward, O'Reilly and Von Wagner fought with Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland, so they're going to keep that going. And then we had the other stuff that we talked about, so that was NXT.
Very good.
NXT UK, we know who is going to be fighting for that number 1 contender spot for the Heritage Cup. It's going to be Wolfgang and Noam Dar next week. In the meantime, the Heritage Cup champion, Tyler Bate, ended up winning a match with Trent Seven because Mustache Mountain beat Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter.
That all started with a debate on whether or not the bookend was better than the rock bottom.
How did the Ginny and Joseph Connors and Amelia McKenzie and Miko Satomura stuff begin, do you think?
Oh. I think it began, hey, Ginny's here, we gotta do something with her.
No, that's the Danny Luna and Xia Brookside, because that, I don't know why that's a thing, and why that's this feud where Xia Brookside wants a match and she loses, and now she's all upset with herself or something, but that was
better suited to join subculture.
Who, Xia?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think so. She's got like different color hair and everything.
You know what you do? You pair her with, and I'm not a big let's do phony relationships. But if there's ever a pairing, it's Robbie Brookside's daughter and William Regal's son, right?
Yeah.
They should just run roughshod over people.
I'd be cool with that.
Their fathers would beat the shit out of them if they didn't. I'm all for that.
I'd be cool with that because we got our second, I think, look, but our first real look at Charlie Dempsey. He beat Josh Morrell by submission. Cool submission finisher.
He's gonna be so good.
Hopefully so.
I'm so excited for him. I like subculture. There's a lot on NXT UK that I actually really like. Like, it's a good show. It's a show that on its own is very strong. It's just in this mess of content. And what can you do?
You can skip, you can watch, you can do whatever it is you want to do.
Well, yes, Tony, those are your options. Thank you.
So let's round things out now with, because there's nothing with 205 Live. Spoilers, check them out.
How dare you?
I dare.
Wrestling on that show.
I dare. She won or she lost. I don't even remember. Sorry, Ember. It's 205 Live is worthless at this point. You got talented people on there, but it's not 205 Live anymore.
They need to start at least airing it at 205 in the afternoon.
Do that. Yeah, why not? Do it 205 in the afternoon. Sure. Well, if they did that at 205 in the afternoon, they wouldn't be able to do it because Peacock can't get NXT UK at 3 o'clock. So they would air it at 2:15 because you have to wait 10 minutes afterward.
215 Live, you know?
215 Live. So let's talk about SmackDown. Now, the matches themselves and the things that happened are almost entirely inconsequential. Corbin beat Kevin Owens. The Street Profits and the New Day beat Alpha Academy and Dirty Dogs. And Sasha Banks beat Bianca Belair. So those are the matches. But we got to talk about the actual crux of this whole thing, the draft.
Yes.
They had announced ahead of time almost nothing. Usually at this point, heading into when we were doing our predictions, we would know the first draft pool, the second draft pool, and then a basic idea of, okay, well, they're not putting these people in there, so they're probably not going to draft them, or these people might be supplemental picks, or, that kind of deal. And instead, they went with draft starting on Friday. And that's about it. They did tell us that they're continuing the thing of undrafted people are free agents, which is exactly how we pictured that it would be, which is if we don't know what to do with them, we'll figure it out and then we'll tell you later.
Which is a great way to be.
It's not the best way to be because the best way would have been that they figured it out, but at least they're not pigeonholing themselves into, announcing that Lindsay Dorado is on SmackDown, and then 2 weeks later they move him to Raw because they're like, actually, we probably should have put him on whatever. Nah, keep him as free agents if that's the case. And we got less people this time around than I think we've ever had before because they decided to cut one pick per round. It had normally been Raw, SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown, Raw. This time around, it's SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown, Raw. And I think that they did this entirely for one reason.
And I talked about it at length during the main event this week.
And that is because it's the premiere next week and sweeps are... No, it's because they needed to make the tribal chief the first pick and he needed to stay on SmackDown. So he is the pick of choice and SmackDown keeps him and Raw drafts Big E. And my first thought was, oh shit, they're splitting the New Day. We'll get into this a little bit, but hey, look.
Really? You went right there.
I went right there because there's no reason why they shouldn't have drafted them as the New Day.
Huh.
So you have the one top champion and the other top champion. Cool, makes sense. Now, keep in mind, they specifically did not say anything about the draft pool stuff because they want this to just be, we don't know who's going with whatever. So SmackDown gets the next pick, and they pick the Raw Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair.
At this point, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, I typed out on Smark at Moment, I typed, she's the Raw Women's Champion. Because it's like, guys, what are you doing? I know it's fake, but what are you doing? And then they draft over to Monday Night Raw, Bianca Belair. And the thing I typed afterward is, what the hell? Flair and Belair on the same brand. Do the match. Now they're on opposite brands again. And I'm like, oh no, we're heading in the direction that I was afraid that we were heading in, that they do every year and they don't learn their lesson for, which is, Edge cut a promo tonight after talking about how he's, we'll talk about where he goes. And he's like, this is like a new opportunity and fresh opponents. Not if you draft the Raw people to SmackDown and the SmackDown people to Raw. You can't keep doing that. And I'm like, I'm worried about it because Flair and Belair was a match that would have been fresh. They've done it before, but it would have been fresh. And now you definitively cannot do that unless you ignore the draft that you're doing and make it self-defeating. You don't know how this is going to play out until the whole thing's done. But round 1 goes down and I go, makes sense, but I'm worried. Doesn't make any sense. And I'm worried. Those are my 4 reactions.
Yeah, my immediate... So I didn't think that they were splitting the New Day. I just thought, of course you want to draft your WWE champion solo. My concern was, oh no, they've taken Charlotte to SmackDown. That means that the SmackDown Women's Championship match at Crown Jewel is up in the air. Because now, does Bianca need to bring that belt home to Raw so that they can do the swap-a-roo where it's just like, I have a belt. I'm on the red show, but I have the blue belt. Let's trade these, who knows? Because Charlotte Flair might get a match at Crown Jewel.
So round 2 goes down. SmackDown picks Drew McIntyre. Makes sense.
Yes, does make sense.
Opponent for Roman Reigns. Raw picks the Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro. So you got Riddle and Randy Orton sticking there. Makes sense. Totally fine with that. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods go to SmackDown, and then it's like, bingo, you can't apparently keep the New Day together. You don't trust yourselves to actually push the guy, even though you have full control.
I had left the room. I went to go eat some food, went to go eat some pizza. I tuned back in for the final pick of the draft, of this round in the draft.
Which was Edge goes to Monday Night Raw.
Right. I tuned in for that. And I'm like, okay, interesting. And then Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods come out, and Pat McAfee goes, oh, but we got it even bigger on SmackDown, because here comes SmackDown's Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. And I'm like, maybe he just means here comes Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods on SmackDown. And I go to you, and you're like, yep, they drafted them. But you're also saying, falsely, that SmackDown had drafted Ash and Ripley.
So for the next round, they go with SmackDown picks the tag team now that they're definitively a tag team. They are together, and they've got nicknames now, and cute little nicknames and matching outfits and everything. It's Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss.
Love it.
And then they go Raw drafts Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH. And I had a complete brain fart. And I thought that SmackDown picked them, and I went, for fuck's sake, why do you want to have Charlotte and Ripley and ASH on the same show again? Oh my god, this is stupid. And then I'm like, wait, no, that's not fucking right.
And
okay.
Then they're telling me that you got that wrong, and I'm going, okay, cool. So he was wrong about the New Day, right? And I was like, nope, they fucking drafted the New Day to SmackDown. Why?
Why do you have to split up the New Day? I think it's legitimately they don't trust themselves to push Big E solo if they have the New Day. I think it's like
Kofi solo.
And they just didn't, but they don't seem to learn any lessons from from anything. It worked for Kofi. And how many times over the history of this entire organization has there been a stable where the head of the stable or whatever was a champion? Triple H was with Evolution. Didn't stop you from pushing Triple H, right?
I guess if the idea is not going to be, well, they split up and whatever, then we're not doing the match. I mean, we're not doing the pairing, because why would we keep them together just to be happy?
Yeah. It's baffling. I don't understand it. Somebody out there, whether it's Vince, whether it's somebody else, is just like, well, no, let's split the New Day, because that way we can get both shows are happy about having part of the New Day
Just
or
merge
whatever.
the goddamn shows.
Yeah,
Man.
not happening, it seems. So SmackDown also picked up Hit Row.
Hit Row.
Meaning that the NXT North American champion is on SmackDown now. Well, will be, because they also announced none of these go into effect until after Crown Jewel. So they're saying, we had all this time to prep for this. We had it planned for a different time, but you know what? We want to do the pay-per-view first, and we want to hear no bullshit about Big E versus Drew McIntyre and so on and so forth. But okay, fine. That just means, hey, I gotta not put Isaiah Swerve Scott on my fantasy team for the next couple of weeks, because he at some point is dropping that North American Championship. That's happening.
I do like that they gave themselves a little bit of time to sort whatever they need to sort out. But I'm happy for Hit Row. And again, I've said this before, but in canon, Fox is so smart. They got Roman Reigns, the top woman in the industry in Charlotte Flair, and with this first NXT pick, you have 4 people.
Now, I don't think the B-Fab and Top Dollar are anywhere near ready
Hey,
for the main roster.
who's hotter than Top Dollar?
Shanti the Adonis.
Not No.
Adonis is ready. Scott's ready. But you're drafting him as a unit. You want the unit. And you're
Top
just hoping
Dollar.
that the rest of them find their way.
Top Dollar was searching around for the Undertaker's gloves and for Kane's mask. If you don't think he's ready, he searched for the hidden treasures. He is the treasure hunter. He's Indiana Jones.
That's going to be... they switch his
Don't-
name to
don't
that.
Don't say it.
Well, you know, are they going to do the same kind of bullshit that they did with everybody else? Like, we're talking about how the other pick with this is Raw drafts Keith Bearcat Lee. So, you know, when we get Bearcat Lee, are we going to get, like, oh, it can't be Top Dollar anymore. You're just going to be Dollar.
Yeah.
Because everybody has to drop that.
Hey, it's Dollar.
I mean, there's no way in hell, I guarantee you, Isaiah is not going to be set on the roster. He is going to be Swerve Scott, 100%.
And I'm good with that.
He might even just be Swerve.
I'd rather him be Swerve Scott, but I'm good with dropping the Isaiah.
Yeah, I will be floored if they continue to call him Isaiah Swerve Scott. It's not going to happen. They think that too many names are too long. They're, you know, they'll be like, hey, this guy is, you know, John Smith, and that's a long name to type and whatever. Like, you know,
It's like they're programming the babies. Like, no, they'll get confused if there's Nikki Kross and Karrion Kross.
Adam Cole and Michael Cole. Oh, are they going to be related? Everybody knows that the only people that are related are Bart and Billy and Undertaker and Kane and Jason Jordan and Kurt Angle and Edge and Christian.
It's so ridiculous.
But then if you actually are related to somebody, then it's like, hey, don't mention that. You're Slam Master Jay.
You're Braun Breaker, Kirk.
Yeah, you're not Rex Steiner. What are you talking about? So the last round that they had announced starts off with Sonya Deville being annoyed that SmackDown has picked Naomi.
I'm very shocked that they just didn't leave her as a free agent. But I guess Sonya didn't have control over it in storyline.
I'm surprised that they bothered to even announce it. I mean, cool with Naomi getting picked in that regard, but there's a lot of people that haven't gotten picked yet. And I was just like, you know what? I didn't think that they would be prioritizing that after only, 4 rounds of 4 picks apiece. We have a lot of people left. And if they do the same amount, well, they'll do more because they have an extra hour. But if they do 6 rounds on Raw, we're still going to have quite a bit of people left. Unless they draft, multiple tag teams like they should have with the New Day. But speaking of a tag team, Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio going over to Raw. Sure.
Hey, how close are we to just getting Rollins and Rey and Dominic back on Raw?
I hope not. But we are getting Jeff Hardy on SmackDown, which makes sense because he needs to have that match with Roman Reigns.
Yo, let me write your television for you. Survivor Series is Biggie, Roman Reigns. TLC is Roman Reigns, Jeff Hardy in a TLC match for the Universal title. Royal Rumble is Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns. You do that maybe even the month after, and then whomever is the challenger you want for Roman at Mania, do it. But there's no way that TLC isn't Jeff Hardy and the Royal Rumble isn't Drew McIntyre.
That would make sense. If it's TLC, they still haven't announced that it's TLC yet. Maybe they decide to go with some stupid Great Balls of Fire name or whatever.
Well, still, Jeff Hardy's got Great Balls of Fire. He could do the match.
Well, if you want to make sure you don't have Great Balls of Fire, check out Manscaped. Manscaped.com/Smark. Remember, everybody. Raw drafts in the final pick for this round and for this night. Austin Theory.
Heyo. He's back on Raw, baby.
And then they do a thing that's not a draft, but it is a draft pick. Brock Lesnar says, yeah, by the way, I'm still a free agent. So it clarifies his future.
You guys called it.
Yeah, I knew that they weren't going to bother with making him part of the Raw roster or whatever. I didn't think that they would do that with Edge either, for that matter. But
yeah, which I had been pretty forth with that. I thought Edge would get drafted and that Lesnar would get drafted. But let's go back to this Lesnar thing. He says, thanks to my good friend Paul Heyman, I am undrafted. And then he repeats, thanks to my good friend Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
And Roman Reigns looks at Paul Heyman and says, are we good friends? And Heyman deserves an Emmy for his work here. He's like, of course, my tribal chief. It's all part of the plan. He wants to know why Jimmy and Jay weren't drafted tonight. It's all part of the plan. I am the wise man. And Roman snaps for the first time, really loudly. You're the wise man when I say you're the wise man. You're going to Raw on Monday. And you're going to make sure they draft the Usos to SmackDown. And he says, yes, my tribal chief, leaves the room. And Roman says, looks at the Usos, you're going with him. And if he doesn't get the job done, leave him for dead. I was like, I have to tune into Raw to see if the Usos get drafted to SmackDown or if Paul Heyman's going to get his ass kicked.
Which means if they're smart, they need to have at least one segment, maybe two, throughout the night where the Usos have not been drafted yet. And Paul Heyman is sweating bullets. And eventually the Usos get drafted to SmackDown, and then you get a shot of him backstage just oh, thank God. That kind of deal.
Loved it. Loved this so much.
Roman's great. He comes out there and he goes, hey, I'm the first pick. I'm awesome. Acknowledge me. And everybody's like, yeah, fucking Roman. It's
even Lesnar's doing really good here.
Yeah.
Because everything he's doing is just, I'm going to fuck with Heyman. Because you got to know at this point, he hasn't told Paul Heyman a thing. He's just openly screwing with Paul Heyman.
Now, if they would have been able to do this kind of stuff years ago, I wouldn't have gone on multiple years worth of, I'm sick of this, do something different. Because all they needed to do was do something different. And they're doing that now.
You know what probably happened? Roman went away and he probably said, I'll come back if we do something different.
Yeah. And they're like, how about you have a different color of your vest for a little bit? Maybe this one's a little bit red. And they're like, no, we got to do something actually different. How about I turn heel? How about with this? How about that? And it's oh, okay. But that's all the work I'm doing for a whole year.
And that's just about how it shook out.
He's like, that's fine. You can just release half the people I fight.
That's funny.
Who am I fighting first? They're like, Bray and Braun. He's like, that's two.
Cool. Let him go.
So, first night impressions.
Messy.
They got some good ideas, and they got some where I'm just like, do you got to do the thing with fucking Charlotte? Is this just going to be a means of you swap the belts and look at that? We counted it as another title reign, and Charlotte's got one more closer to 16. Is that all we're doing here?
Woo!
I hope that's not the case. I hope they have some kind of plan. I don't know who the hell she would fight at Crown Jewel. There's nobody that makes any sense for her to fight at Crown Jewel that could win the championship from her to take that back to Raw. At least not that I can imagine, because it's like maybe like a 2% chance that Shayna Baszler gets a match and they have her beat Charlotte. 2% might not even, it might even be less than 2%. Charlotte's just going to be SmackDown Women's Champion. They're just going to give her the belt. They're just going to do that shit. And I'm worried that what we're going to get here is not even that Bianca wins the championship and takes the SmackDown one to Raw and switches it. I'm worried what we're getting here is Becky retains and goes to Raw, and they keep doing Becky and Bianca like 8 more times.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
And we're all going to say that it's supposed to be the best thing ever.
And that means that Seth Rollins goes to Raw because he'll go with Becky, which means that you can't do Seth and Roman at any point in 2022 unless you just completely disregard the draft and just say,
unless somebody
and
wins the
change.
Royal Rumble.
And I don't think that
Or Money in the Bank.
I don't think that Seth is going to win that and challenge Roman. So you took another person away from Roman that could have worked.
Well, you haven't done it yet.
That's going to happen, though.
You don't know that yet.
So I'm worried about it because I don't want to see the same shit all over again. The whole point of the draft is supposed to shake it up, not to shake it up and have it all fall into the same pieces, you know?
But they did shake it up. They put the red pieces where the blue pieces go.
Yeah, it's a game of perfection. God. Yeah. That was a stressful game.
Yeah, that's the anxiety that we feel. Pop goes perfection.
So, are there anybody that stand out to you that it's like, all right,
besides the
this needs to happen now, as far as trades go?
Yeah, now that Xavier and Kofi were traded to SmackDown, they need to be traded back to Raw.
Yeah,
that's the first thing.
Street Profits are going to Raw for sure.
What did they split them?
Split Montez and Bianca?
Yeah,
I don't think that they're going to do that.
Montez and Dawkins.
Oh, you think that they might even just have Tez go?
And
keep
then
Dawkins on SmackDown?
Do something on SmackDown.
I hope not. They're much better as a tag team.
Hear me out, though. Are they?
Well, yeah, that's why I just said I think that they're much better as a team.
But really, use your critical thinking skills. Is tag team wrestling not a dead-end road in WWE?
Well, talk to the Usos about that, you know?
Well, one of them just spent half a year in fucking singles and became main event Jey Uso.
And didn't win a single championship and went right back to the tag team.
He won the Yokozuna Memorial Battle Royal.
I could see them splitting at least one tag team just because they split the New Day. There you go. But I wouldn't be shocked if they split up, say, Alpha Academy, even though there's no purpose to it. But I could see them doing something like that.
The only purpose to it would be if Gable's leaving. And I doubt it.
A lot of the other picks are going to depend on just a lot of the other picks. Like, is it a good spot for Corbin to be right now? Maybe. But you throw a whole bunch of more people on SmackDown to where he's got nowhere to go, and you end up having a deficit on Raw, then it'll be, well, why didn't Corbin go over there? You're not really going to know how the draft is going to play out until we see a good, 50% more. Obviously, we don't need to know every single person, but one draft pick can make a difference. Look at how much of a difference it makes if you just had, like, I don't know, say you move over Shinsuke Nakamura. Well, that's a championship right there. Then you have to balance out another championship. Who do you balance out the championship with? Okay, does somebody lose it? Do you balance this? One draft move can make a big difference.
Roman would work. He'd be one of the only people on the current main roster that I think could beat Roman, and it would matter.
I don't think there's any chance that happens either.
Well, who's going to beat this motherfucker?
I don't think that they care. I think they legitimately are like, it doesn't matter. We don't plan for it. We want Roman as champion, and we'll figure it out down the line. And if we don't figure it out, well, at least Roman had a great reign. I think that they don't care.
That's awful.
They are very much, we're all about the destination. If the destination is all we care about, don't criticize us for Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks leading up to Mania, because all we care about is the Mania moment. And then you would think with something like the Roman Reigns thing, that's like, okay, well, we're building to something. Nah, I think that they're doing the total opposite. I think that they care so little about who will potentially beat Roman Reigns that they're like, we just want Roman as the guy on top, and that's the story.
Real shame.
Maybe they're hoping that they find somebody over the course of the next year or two.
Braun Breaker.
Yeah. Braun Breaker?
Braun Breaker.
Breaker. So we got a lot of people that are left. We don't know what's happening with Sasha. We don't know what's happening with Toni Storm. We don't know the Hurt Business, etc., etc. We'll find out maybe a little bit more tomorrow with some supplemental picks on the Talking Smack show. Maybe we'll talk on the whole breakdown next week that we're going to do post-draft of, like, hey, in the middle of nowhere, they did these announcements on social media, and they did this thing on TikTok, and they did this, because they'll probably do that too, and it'll be frustrating as all hell for people like us. But whatever it happens with this draft, we will be talking about it next week. We'll give you the full breakdown of everything, and the good, the bad, the ugly, Unforgiven, Tombstone, some other westerns.
Vengeance.
Yeah. The Magnificent Seven, etc. And that's it for the hot tags.
All right.
So stay tuned, everybody, for those things we were talking about and everything else we were talking about, because more content coming your way. And
it's content. Life is content now.
It's all content.
We're not going to describe the content. You might even just be us drinking water with no ice. It seems to be a thing today.
This is going to change from Smark moment to content. Hey, everybody, welcome to content. Here you go.
Here's that content you ordered.
Is that how the meal's going to be in the future? Here's that food. This is content for your stomach.
Oh, content? I like content. I heard the word content on a TikTok.
So if you want more content, check out fanboysanonymous.com. Check out smarkmoment.com. Follow, like, and share, and check out everything that's going on in the social medias and stuff. I'm at Toni Mango. Rob is at Dude Felice.
You can follow all my content at Dude Felice. Check it out over at Fightful.com. Sean Ross Sapp is putting a lot of great content out on Fightful Select. You can check out all the retro content Cal Miggins and I have provided on the Smark Moment Retro Archives with the Paul Heyman SmackDown podcast and 2001 Wrestling Odyssey. And yeah, just more content. Up with content.
Down with what? Imperialism or something?
Less content.
Yeah, so
more content.
That's gonna do us in for this episode, everybody. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for leaving your comments below, and thank you for tuning in. But that's gonna end this for us. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we are being counted out.